Hey everyone, and welcome to this Dota 2 beginner's guide on the top 5 meta off-lane heroes in patch 7.28 that are good for beginners and those that are just getting started in Dota 2. In this guide, I'll be talking about 5 separate off-lane heroes, each of which with very good win rates in lower MMR brackets, and I'll be giving you suggested item builds to get you started. First, the number 1 off-lane hero in lower MMR brackets for beginners is Underlord. Now, there's a couple things that makes Underlord so damn good. Okay, first of all, he is extremely tanky, he's got a passive, and he's got an escape, which makes that pretty beginner-friendly, because, you know, you got less buttons to press, and you have a way to get out when you're in trouble, okay, once you start feeling the pressure. The other thing that's so fantastic about him is that he has 2 very good zoning abilities, and I'll explain what zoning means in a second, but he has 2 abilities that really allow him to push waves and take objectives. As a newer player, your primary goal is staying alive, not feeding, and basically to take towers and objectives, and Underlord excels at that. Let's take a look. So first of all, if I want to push out these waves here, right, all I got to do here is I have to just cast that. No problem. I cast the ability, it naturally takes out the opposing units here, causes some burn damage, maybe gets me a couple last hits. Now, the other thing that's good about these 2 items is we got this axe here, right? Let's say we want to prevent Axe from defending this tower. All we got to do is put a Malice here, and he can't really access that area because he's getting frozen in place, right? So it prevents him, it discourages him from running through that area. And what you can do is you can combo that with the Firestorm. So let's say Axe is running at us here. We could Pit of Malice into Firestorm, and now if he wants to run through, he's taking a ton of damage. He's taking an absolute ton of damage running through there, and that's why we call Underlord a zoning hero, because he's very effective at creating spaces that opposing teams don't want to enter by creating these zones of damage and zones of, kind of wave clear. The other thing is, let's say Axe has really low health and he's trying to run away. You can actually put a Malice behind him so that he can't escape. That's why Underlord is so effective. And look, he takes it again, right? So it kind of has like, it kind of, recasts after he's in there for a little bit of time. Disable interval of 3.6 seconds, and he's actually disabled for 1.4. So at this particular level. But anyways, that's what makes Underlord so effective. He's very good at zoning. He's very effective at clearing waves. And overall, he's just a very good beginner-friendly hero. In terms of items, you're going to want to start with your first 600 gold, 2 tangos, a quelling blade. The quelling blade obviously increases your opportunity to last hit as a position 3, and 2 gauntlets of strength. The reason why you're going 2 gauntlets of strength here is because an early soul ring really helps you, because it allows you to use those 2 gauntlets of strength in order to build an item that increases your tankiness by increasing your armor. It also solves one of the primary issues that Underlord has. He has a ton of health, but a very small mana pool. So as he starts casting abilities, you're going to notice that his mana pool quickly drops. And if you're in a situation where, you're out of mana, but you want to get, 1 more cast to kill this Axe, let's just see here. He's actually on fire here, but he's taking some damage here. What you can do is you can actually soul ring, sacrifice a little bit of health, but use that mana to get another cast to get the kill. And of course, you do lose that mana. The way Soul Ring works is you get 150 mana, it lasts 10 seconds, but that's kind of like an artificial buffer and it goes away. But a very useful item when you're an Underlord and you find yourself, I just need a little bit more mana. You use your Soul Ring, you get the mana. It's kind of like a mango. Where's my mango? Why am I? Where it is? It's kind of like a mango that takes health away from you, and you can just use over and over again, right? So watch, I use a Soul Ring, I got my mana, I can cast whatever I want. I lost a little bit of health, but I got so much it doesn't matter. But after 10 seconds, that mana goes away. So it's very important that you use your spells, because it's the bonus mana that you use that disappears first. So once again, now I'm at 260, even though I'd used my ring before. Had I cast my Firestorm, that mana would have come out of the buffer used by the Soul Ring. Okay, very effective. Now, as you move into the later game, I do recommend phase boots on relatively new players. So in the early game, you want to get your brown boots, right, just to give you some added movement speed. From there, what you want to do is this. You want to get your phase boots. Phase boots are really effective. Some people go tranquils, but I like phase boots for you because you can carry a little bit late game, and I think the added damage is beneficial. Also, it's a very fast boot, and it gives you armor as well, which is extremely beneficial for someone like Underlord. You want to build his tankiness, so you can use it. He gets a nice little speed boost there, 407 speed. That's not too shabby there. So I think phase boots are pretty good for beginners there. And then what you got to do is you make a decision. All right. Are they going Crimson Guard, Sorry, are they going physical damage? So basically, as the enemy draft like a lot of physical heroes like Drow, PA, Faceless Void, if they are, you want to go something like Crimson Guard, building towards that, starting with your Vanguard, then your Helm of Iron Will, then obviously getting the recipe later, so that you can basically increase the damage, the protection of your team. If you have a lot of heroes that do magic-based damage, like Lina, Invoker, Crystal Maiden, then instead of going the Crimson Guard, you might focus on getting a Pipe of Insight first in order to give your team the damage block capabilities in order to add survivability for them, okay? So that is what I would suggest here. If it's a lot of physical damage, you go Crimson Guard. If it's a lot of magic damage, you go Pipe. And then late game, right, you have options, right? The late game, depending on what's going on, if you want to take the Shiva's Guard, it's a very expensive item, but it allows you to do some AoE damage, right? Just like everything's AoE with you, right? Everything's AoE. You run in, you do a little blast here of snow, and it basically injures everybody around you. But there's other items as well. Perhaps more common on someone like the Underlord is the Assault Cuirass, because it provides an Assault Aura, which increases the attack speed and armor of all your allied units and structures, while decreasing that of enemies. So that's very valuable, right? Again, as a Underlord, you want to be carrying a lot of Aura items. You can even build a Vlad's, not so much late game, more kind of mid-late game. I do think that you should prioritize these items over a Vlad's. You'd go Vlad's if your team has a lot of physical damage dealers like Slark, PA, Ursa, things like that. Then you can really amplify your ability to take Roshan early, for instance. But other than that, he's a great hero, and this is the suggested item build for you to get started with him, and as you get more comfortable, you start to identify when you can use these other items. But overall, let's talk about hero number 2. And the second hero with a fantastic win rate for new and beginning players is Sand King. Now, Sand King is very interesting, and I love him because he is very survivable, very tanky, but also has a whole bunch in his kit that makes him very unique. He also has a lot of learning opportunities for new players, as he's one of the heroes that really relies on the Blink Dagger to be successful. And I'll discuss that in a second. Basically, with Sand King, what you're looking at here is you're looking at a very tanky hero with with decent armor, good health, and a stun, which is absolutely fantastic. So Burrow Strike can be used to counter like Crystal Maiden's Freezing Field, things along those lines. Good stun. You have Sandstorm, which allows you to basically kind of zone very effectively, much like Underlord. So if you have heroes here trying to pressure you, you want to clear a wave, you can Sandstorm here. People often discount the amount of damage Sandstorm does. It actually does a lot, right? A lot of damage. Look, I'm not even last hitting here, and I'm getting all that money. I'm not even trying to attack anybody. He stays invisible, so it kind of forces them to get like sentry wards and stuff like that. You only cancel it when you move out of the zone, right? It gives you a little added survivability, so they have to carry like a Dust of Appearance, something like that. The great thing about the Burrow Strike, let's select our enemy hero here. Where's Rayleigh, the Crystal Maiden? So she's here. I'm gonna level her to max. She's gonna ult here. She's ulting. You can stun her, right? So having a stun is always a valuable part of a kit, right? Very useful. The other thing that you need to know is that Cossack Finale is an awesome skill for clearing waves and for doing AoE damage, right? So it's a lot of fun to watch kind of Cossack Finale kind of just ripple through enemy units. Now, a few things that you need to be aware of here. So with regards to items, now I'm going to show you the Epicenter in a second, but with regards to starting items, I do recommend you start with a Tango, a Fairy Fire, a Quelling Blade, and then Gauntlets and a Circlet. This will give you some burst healing, some sustained healing, but also it'll allows you to build a quick bracer into Falcon Blade. Falcon Blade's good because Sand King does utilize a lot of mana. With Sandstorm and Burrow Strike, mana becomes an issue early in the game, and the 1.6 mana generation is not too shabby, honestly. Not only that, but you get some added health, which is fantastic as well. You can even go a second bracer if you want. Now, this is very heavy sustain. Like, this might slow you down slightly, but if you're in a very harass-centric lane, like if you're against a Drow Ranger and like a Grimstroke and they're harassing you non-stop, then perhaps you want somebody that's actually even like a Drow and Avenge or Vengeful Spear or something like that. Then you want to get your boots, of course, as would anybody. You'd probably use that by that point. But anyways, the key thing about him though is that in the mid game, what you want to actually transition into is you end up transitioning into Arcane Boots, but first the Blink Dagger. The reason why Blink Dagger is so important on Sand King is because his Epicenter is only really useful if you can get into position first. Like, watch. It has a very, very obvious cast, right? Look. So he kind of really illustrates that, hey, I'm casting Epicenter now. So what do you think Crystal Maiden does? If Crystal Maiden's here and she's poking him, right? And he starts doing this. What do you think she does? I'm gone. See ya. And Epicenter's been wasted. Your ultimate's been wasted, right? And that sucks because you don't want that to happen, right? So let's get a couple more enemies here. A couple more Crystal Maidens. Now we got a full team of CMs here, right? And we don't want them to run away. We don't want them to run away. So what we do is we cast our epicenter. And once it starts going, then we blink in. And then that is how you take advantage of epicenter with your blink dagger. It prevents them from running away from you, because what you're able to do is you're able to cast it preemptively, and just before it goes, then you blink, and now you're using it properly, right? So that's why Blink Dagger is so important on Sand King, because Epicenter is a fantastic team fight alt, but it's very predictable. It has a very obvious cast and channel, so it's extremely important that you have a Blink Dagger to take advantage of that, okay? Moving on from there, right? That's basically your mid game. You can also use the Scepter is also a very popular item on Sand King as well. Gives them some added survivability. It also prevents people from running away. There's a couple. It also adds another interrupt. So someone's running away. Do this here. You can also, you can Sandstorm. And then you can Sandstorm and also do this, right? So they're taking damage and they can't even hit you in it, in case they do have some, detection, stuff along those lines. So Yule's Scepter is a very interesting item as well. Late game, the Agnum Scepter is actually pretty interesting as well. So a lot of players tend to go Agnum Scepter on him, so you'd sell something like this, get the Agnum Scepter in there, and basically adds Cossack Finale to the heroes that are hit by Sand King's Burrow Strike and increases his attack range, which is fantastic. So once again, if you have multiple Crystal Maidens here, we will drop a couple enemies here, right? And you hit them with Burrow Strike, right? You're stunning multiple of them, and they get the Cossack Finale put on all of them, which makes it so that if they die, they explode. They're also, of course, getting slowed and stuff like that as well, which is great. So it's a very good item, very good carry item. His Agnum Shard, I don't really suggest you get it. It's a little bit of a weird one. Basically, every 700 meters he moves, he actually does just pop out at epicenter, which is pretty cool for like pushing waves and stuff like that, I guess. It's kind of niche. Not a lot of people are using it, but perhaps, you might have some fun with it in a game that you're ahead. Common with Sand King is Lotus Orb. The armor is fantastic for him, and also in the event that someone casts something, he's able to reflect it. It's fantastic. So let's say you have, let's say, again, Crystal Maiden, so she has Frostbite, right? You don't want her just to I used the wrong. Okay, hold on. I don't want to kill you, Maiden. Hold on. So let's say you have this Frostbite here, right? If you don't want to get frostbitten, right? So what you can do is you can use the Lotus Orb, right? So you cast Lotus Orb on. Oh, I just ulted. Hitting the wrong buttons here. Sorry, I'm getting all confused because I'm trying to use multiple heroes here. Okay, so you use the Lotus Orb, and then when she casts her ability, it actually gets reflected. You do get frostbitten, but she did as well, right? So it's one of those things you're able to reflect, abilities. It's a little more valuable on someone like Lena, for instance. I'll give you a show here. Where's Lena? Where's Lena? Lena, where are you? Why can't I find you? Oh, it wouldn't let me type there. There she is. Okay, so we use Lena. We drop the enemy hero there. Let's not kill her yet. Let's not kill her yet. Oh, no, Lena, don't die. Don't die. Refresh. There you go. She's not dead. So let's go see Lena for a second. So what you're going to see here is we'll level her up a little bit here. So level enemy to max. Let's take this. And watch what happens here. We use Lotus Orb on ourselves, right? And what she does, she ults us. It just reflects right back to herself. And the third offlane hero with a fantastic win rate that is very beginner friendly in the offlane is Abbadon. Abbadon, the Dark Knight himself. Now, the nice thing about Abbadon here is that he's one of those heroes that really does shine in lower MMRs. There's a couple reasons for this, okay? First of all, he's got a heal, right? So you can sustain your lane very well. He's got a shield. Again, sustaining your lane very well, okay? The other thing that makes him very beginner friendly is his ultimate Borrowed Time, which effectively heals him, okay, for the damage taken for 4 to 6 seconds, depending on its level, to heal you all the way back up if enemies focus fire you, which is great because a lot of beginning players might just focus fire you anyway, not knowing what your hero even does. So it's kind of just to your advantage that you're using a hero that kind of can take advantage of their lack of experience. Not only that, it'll automatically activate if you fall below 400 health. Which is great because if you're kind of new to the game and you're fumbling the buttons and you forget to actually cast your Borrowed Time, it'll just activate for you. It also activates a strong Dispel, which will get rid of, a lot of negative effects on you, which is fantastic, which will really allow you to get away, okay? Abbadon, with his Curse of Avernus, by the way, also can become a pretty effective carry late in the game. He has a couple tricks up his sleeve as well. Like if you are, for instance, let's say, I'm going to do it right here, just to give you an idea of how it works. So you have an axe here. Let's say you want to kill this axe, right? What you can do, let's say he's almost dead and you want to dive the tower. You can actually shield yourself, run at the tower, and allow the tower to actually burst your shield to give yourself some added burst DPS on the axe. And actually, I'll show you how the Curse of Avernus works. I'm not even going to activate it. I'm just going to wait. And there it is. Now I'm healing up. Right? Fantastic. Fantastic ultimate. Very good for beginning players. And a very, very noob-friendly hero, we'll say, in Abbadon. Now, with regards to starting items, let's just talk about items for a second. He's a much more straightforward hero than someone like Sand King. Basically, what you want to do is you want to have lane sustain and last hit capabilities. So these are your standard starting items. You can go with an additional set of tangos. I do like the clarity here because of the amount of casting you can do. But it's up to you if you want to get rid of the clarity. It's up to you. I do recommend going double bracer for Abbadon. I do like the double bracer play on Abbadon. Really gives him the opportunity to boost his defense, to really make it a little more difficult for to lane against him. Give him that tankiness. He's all about sustain. Like with Abbadon, you never want to leave the lane, and you make it very difficult for an opposing hero to deal with him, right? You can even add a Falcon Blade if you want to this build. Falcon Blade's actually pretty cool for him as well. If you want, Falcon Blade's a good build into there as well. You know what? I might even add Falcon Blade in there. I actually think the Falcon Blade might be a good pick. Oh, I sold the Falcon Blade. I think Falcon Blade might actually be really interesting there, and I would actually put it perhaps. No, I think I would do it this way. Anyways, Falcon Blade, pretty interesting as well. From there, I would recommend going with the Orb of Corrosion. The reason why I do recommend the Orb of Corrosion here is because not only does it... that's not an Orb of Corrosion, that's the Orb of Corrosion. You're getting additional health, but you're also going to be reducing armor and creating a slow effect, which will allow you to stack later in the game more Curse of Avernus stacks as you continue to hit the same target. So, on Abbadon, ironically, Orb of Corrosion could really be an item you save late game just for that melee slow effect. It's very legit. 13% will help you keep them in range so that you can keep hitting them, okay? I do recommend phase boots on him because, again, as an offlaner, you want the additional armor. Also, you want the additional burst of speed so that you can keep your Curse of Avernus stacks on a single target. Like most heroes here, right, you'll probably end up selling this, get rid of these, of course. You might end up with something like Drums of Endurance or Vladimir's Offering, depending on the game situation. Carrying aura items on a very tanky hero is always suggested because what it'll allow you to do, it'll give your team some added sustain. In the late game, what you might want to do is you sell something like a Bracer, and you might go with something like Crimson Guard. I should actually have here, and why did I not include it? I'm going to include it right now. A Pipe of Insight as well. Pipe of Insight is a great item in the event that they have a lot of magic and spellcasting capabilities. You could very well go Pipe as well. I do like Crimson Guard on someone like Abbadon because what it'll allow you to do is really create a situation where physical damage is going to do nothing on your team, nothing on Abbadon as well. It really makes him an absolute tank. But again, if you see lots of Lenas and Rayleighs and stuff like that, you can definitely prioritize going the Pipe of Insight. Also, of course, Assault Cuirass is a great item for him. Extra attack speed for your team, armor reduction for the other team, and armor bonus for your team. And once again, Lotus Orb is a very situational item against very high burst-centric magic-based heroes. Overall, Abbadon, an excellent hero, very beginner-friendly. His borrow time is one of the most beginner-friendly ults in the game. Really, you don't even have to touch it, and it'll heal you all the way back up. He's a great hero with a good win rate, and you're going to have a lot of fun with him. And the next hero that is absolutely fantastic for relatively new players in the off lane is Tidehunter. Tidehunter has an absolutely incredible win rate for good reason, and that is because he's an absolute monster. Just look at him. But the nice thing about Tidehunter here is he has one of the best ultimates in the game in Ravage. And in many respects, traditionally, Tidehunter has just basically been a Ravage machine. He's only useful when he's ravaging, but things have changed in patch 7.28, namely his shard. His shard basically allows his Anchor Smash to be an excellent wave clear and a threat to clear buildings very quickly in the off lane, and also it allows Tidehunter to create space for your carries by pushing lanes very effectively with his Anchor Smash. So he is now back in the meta, baby, and he's truly fantastic. Now let's talk about items quick, because items are going to give you the idea of how the items incorporate the effectiveness, kind of increase the effectiveness of his abilities. Now first of all, in the early game here, you're going to want to go with these types of items here. You're going to want to increase his ability to tank, but also these items get built into other items that he's going to be using very shortly. For instance, the Circlet builds into your Bracer. The buckler is the ring of protection is used in your buckler. Again, you want to sustain the lane and give your lane mates a little bit of added sustain. Falcon Blade is another great item for him because the mana regeneration is key as he wants to cast his Gush and Anchor Smash. So Falcon Blade is a great item as well. You're going to use these up here. And then what you're going to do, you're going to get your brown boots. For Tidehunter, there's a few ways you can build him. You can do phase boots with him, but right now the meta kind of build that I would recommend for beginner players is to actually build arcane boots first. You can actually go Blink Dagger first if you wish, get brown boots, go into Blink Dagger, or if you wish, go arcane boots, because you want to be able to kind of sustain your mana, because he's a very low intelligence hero and he has a very small mana pool. And it's very important you get arcane boots because it'll sync with Refresh Orb. Later on, I'll show you why. You get a Blink Dagger. The reason why you need a Blink Dagger here is because you want to be able to kind of jump on your opposition, much like Sand King. People know that his ultimate is what they're scared of here, right? They know, oh, his ultimate is what's going to kill me. And if he's just running up, they're just going to run away. So the important thing with Tidehunter is you got to take advantage of your ultimate by blinking in, ulting, and just stunning them. It's a team fight winning ability, and the Blink Dagger allows you to do that. Okay, so the Blink Dagger is completely core on this hero. As I mentioned afterwards, the Agnum Shard is absolutely fantastic. You're going to get it, and what it's going to do is it's going to increase the amount of damage your Anchor Smash does, and it also allows you to do it to buildings. It also decreases the cooldown to literally 3 seconds at level 4, which is like absolutely insane. Like it's no time at all. You can literally take a tower down and clear an entire entire wave very quickly. You can do Ancients very quickly because of Kraken Shell and Anchor Smash. It enables so much about him. It increases his farming capabilities, increases his lane presence, increases everything about him, okay? Everything about him. Not his lane presence, it's kind of late for laning, but allows you to press very effectively. Then you're going to go Mechanism. Why you go Mechanism? You go Mechanism because ultimately your end game is going Guardian Greaves. Guardian Greaves is a fantastic item because not only does it have a basic Dispel for your team, heals, it has mana regeneration as well, it has passive Guardian Aura, it's doing a whole lot for your team, and at the end of the day, right, that's what you want. You want to support your team in the off lane, and then you want to be able to ravage as effectively as you can. Now, if you get really late in the game and you can afford it, Refresh Orb is the king of all items. Now, if you build this way, Refresh Orb is good because the one thing people don't often realize about the Refresh Orb is it requires 300 mana. So if you don't have Guardian Greaves, right, and you rush Refresh Orb, what ends up happening is this, okay? You cast your Ravage, right, and then you cast Refresh Orb, but then you can't cast Ravage again because you don't have the mana, right? So the timing of these items is very important. It's very important that you have your Guardian Greaves before Refresh Orb, or you have some sort of mana, because what you got to be able to do is you have to be able to do this. You have to be able to, right, blink in, ult, refresh, ult, and you need mana to do that. You have to have mana to do that. You have to have the pool to basically cast, well, at higher you know, kind of levels, 325 mana, and then the Refresh Orb, and then the Ravage again. So it's very important that you build in this way, because as you level up, right, if we get to 20 here, you have all the Ravage points, and you get the mana, you get the Anchor Smash, damage reduction, you get the whatever you want, right? You level up your stuff. It's very important that you understand that you need the mana pool in order to effectively do this, right? So again, blink, refresh, and you're able to Ravage twice, right? But without the mana, look, it's just the right amount of mana to be able to pull that off with these items, right? So it's very important that you consider that with Tidehunter, or else you're going to be mana starved when you go to Refresh Orb. But that is his ultimate combo. Tidehunter, an absolute beauty, back in the meta. Let's talk about the last offlane hero to help carry you in lower MMRs. And the last hero we're talking about today is Bristleback. Bristleback is an absolute monster of the offlane. He's always been part of the offlane. He is one of the staple offlane heroes and always has been in Dota for a number of reasons. First of all, you got the Cool Spray. Cool Spray is fantastic. That is the signature item. It sprays cools around in an AoE around him, right? It allows them to stack and do additional damage the more times that they've been hit by the Cool Spray, which is fantastic. He also has a great, I should level right up here. He also has a great passive in Bristleback itself. So if enemies hit him from behind, he basically gets reduced damage, and also after 210 damage, he does a free Cool Spray, which then combos with the Cool Sprays you cast, which then combo with the amount of damage you're doing. So like some heroes, if Bristleback's getting hit, he has the potential to do damage back. He's absolutely fantastic. His goo is great for like slowing you know, heroes that are running away. It's great for chasing, stuff like that. And his Warpath is a passive, so the more he casts, the more movement speed and the more bonus damage he gets, and it just keeps stacking, right? So basically, the more you cast, the more damage you're able to do, which is great with Warpath. And again, as you can see, right, it's stacking. He's doing additional damage. It allows Bristleback to actually be a pretty scary carry later in the game as he continues to stack his abilities, continues to cast with Nasal Goo, because that's what you're going to do, right? You're going to, you know, if you have an enemy, let's put him over here. We'll level him up to max here. Level him up to max here. So what we're going to do, we're going to Quill Spray, we Nasal Goo, right? We Quill Spray, we Nasal Goo. And as you can see, we're just gaining damage. And if he tries to run, we've gained so much speed from Warpath, and we're only getting faster. He can't run away from us. He can't run away because of Warpath, right? So a very interesting hero, okay? Very beginner friendly, passive here, passive there, and just basically 2 usable abilities. All you got to do is make sure that if someone's attacking you, let me show you here. So if he's attacking you, you don't want to like just straight up fight him like this. You don't want to do this. You don't want to do this, right? You want to run away. You want to keep your back to him because you're taking reduced damage, okay? And see how I'm Cool Spraying, right? Watch, he's gonna hit me again. I'm a Cool Spray, right? It's all about making sure that they hit you in the back. That's key, because if he hits you in the front, you're vulnerable. All right, so that's important to understand. With regards to starting items, I do recommend carrying 2 tangos for the regeneration, a quelling blade for the increased damage capabilities for the creeps, a circlet for the health and to build into your bracer. You're going to take an enchanted mango and a clarity. Very interesting picks here. Now the one thing about Bristleback is that he's often countered by his lack of mana, and if you take the enchanted mango not only for the base HP regeneration, but in the event that you're in a situation where you're like, okay, you know, I can get a kill here, but I got no mana, what am I going to do? You actually use your enchanted mango, then you might be able to actually secure a kill in lane. So it's very important you have an enchanted mango on you, and if you're doing some creep camps and stuff, or contesting pulls or things along those lines, or handling creeps, you can use a clarity to get your mana up. Without mana, he's very difficult to utilize. His Quill Spray is a very low mana cost, but it's very important you have at least a little bit of mana so you can actually cast it, okay? From there, I do recommend finishing your circlet into a bracer. Some people even tend to go into double bracer. What I like to do is go into a Ring of Basilius for the added mana regeneration. I also like to get a Falcon Blade here, so say you use that, you use your Falcon Blade. Falcon Blade has a great build-up, right, which will allow him to basically get everything he needs. He gets additional health, he gets mana regeneration and additional damage, all great things, right? And then what you're going to want to do from there is you go with the Ring of Health, which basically makes so he never leaves the lane. His health regeneration becomes massive, so he has no reason to ever leave the lane, right, at this point. He's got great, it's 12, right, so he's going to have a whole bunch of mana health regeneration. You get your brown boots, and then what you do, right, is you start building towards your other items here, right? So you actually end up getting power threads. Power treads are important here. I think power treads are the pick. You can also go with phase boots if you want the additional armor and movement speed, but with Warpath, you usually don't need the movement speed, and the power treads are going to be useful, especially if you're low on mana. You can switch to intelligence. If you're being attacked, you generally just leave it on strength if you're relatively new to the game, right? But at the end of the day, right, from there you can build your Vanguard, which will then build into your Crimson Guard later. You can also build a Veil of Discord, which is great, because Veil of Discord will actually increase the amount of damage your Cool Sprays do, which is fantastic, because what Veil of Discord does is it increases all damage from spells, and while this is physical, it's still a spell. A lot of people tend to forget that. It is a physical damage spell, but it is still a spell. So it'll increase the amount of damage, okay? If you're against magic-heavy lineups, you can actually go into something like a Pipe of Insight. If you're against someone like a Faceless Void or a PA or a Drow Ranger or someone who just right-clicks you to death, another meta item is something like a Heaven's Helper, because what it does is if he's coming at you and he's going to attack you, you can just disarm him. Now you can't do anything. Okay, you can still cast spells, but like a right clicker, like a Drow or a PA is rendered basically useless because they can't do anything. So Heaven's Halberd is also a very useful item on Bristleback. Again, you want to build for your team when you're Bristleback. Definitely build for your team. Anyways, guys, if you have any questions, let me know in the comments. I'd love to be able to help you. I hope this guide helped you. We'll see you on the next video. Thank you so much for watching.